Iburu, Ibuya, Ebocheche. A good godchild of Orisha. 01. Does not leave the godparent's side for at least 7 years before venturing out. There was a time when godchildren learned by sticking around their godparents throughout all their godparents' activities, assisting, listening, learning, and keeping their mouths shut. See, listen, and keep your mouth closed, was the elders' phrase when I was growing up in this tradition as a kid. The Odu of Ogunda Meiji says, that only masters and elders can teach, and for this, the young initiates need to be apprentices for a good long while to learn to become masters or elders themselves. This does not mean that the godparent has the right to abuse the apprentice using them for personal gain. Yet, godchildren have to make an effort to support their elders throughout all ceremonies and rituals, because this is a tradition of practice makes perfect. New initiates need to bring their potential clients to their godparents so that their godparents can teach them how to work with them, not just that the godparent use their clients to teach the godchild. Godchildren have to give back because this is how they receive and learn. My godmother tossed obi to my Orisha yearly on my anniversary of being crowned for 6 years. In the 7th year, she said, "You toss obi now while I'm here to see what you have learned." During the 6 years, I assisted her in all the practices that she deemed necessary to support her. They were, feeding Igun, taking her to buy supplies needed for ceremonies, helping her with the throne, helping set up the table of Ocha crowning, and making sure all ingredients and items were there for the other priest. I would be the one to feed the corners and roof before a crowning. I held animals in the Matanza ceremony of Ocha and other ceremonies supporting the Babalawo, or the Oba when she gave Yamaya Olokun, Ebajis, Obaloi, and Orishaoko to godchildren. I would accompany her to her Ifa readings for me to see how Babalawos functioned because she said that one day I would become one. Hence, why she encouraged me to learn Dielagun, but never toss it, forsaking it for Ifa. She said that Shango would decide what my future road would be, but for now, don't choose one or the other, don't tie yourself to Dielagun so Shango doesn't either. It was her philosophy and I respected it. She said that my Ocha Ita and Hand of Ifa Odu, gave indicators of my future religious practice. Yet, the final decision will always be determined by my guardian Orisha Shango. Finally, when I learned the Majuba, she taught me to serve my head and the heads of others younger than me. Needless to say, I did well tossing obi to my Orisha in my 7th year. I was crowned in 1977 and my godmother passed away in 1989. By then, I already knew how to prepare my throne for anniversaries, knew how to toss obi, and communicate with my Orisha their needs, and mine. I knew how to place offerings, adimus. I knew how to feed the necessary fowls to my Orisha when necessary without a knife. I knew how to serve my head, and clean myself with herbs, let alone prepare baths and do Ozain chants. I learned to gather many Orisha herbs for rituals. But most of all I learned to prepare the room for an Ocha crowning. Oh, by the way, I learned to play conga, shakret, and bell, along with singing many Orisha songs for drumming to Orisha. 02. A good godchild will learn their Majuba invocation prayer as soon as possible. A. In preparation for when your godparents ask you to toss obi in a religious activity. B. For you to communicate with your Orisha and Nigungun. C. Because without learning your house's Mojuba, how can you invoke the Ashe of the elders past and your elders present to perform rituals? 03. A good godchild does not get upset at the elders when their elders correct them. Everyone today is so emotional, the world has become so full of whiny, mamby-pamby people. When my elders looked at me a certain way I would bow my head out of respect and wait for them to tell me what they needed to, in whatever manner they felt like and knew not to take it personally. Simply because through those experiences I was learning. 04. A good godchild never thinks they are a know-it-all. One of the most profound philosophical ideologies says, the more you know you don't know. I wish many people in our religion would take a philosophy and psychology course. They would be surprised how much they can learn. When that knowledge is coupled with the knowledge of the Dielagun or Ifa, it enhances their understanding of life situations to better guide themselves and others. Never be afraid to ask for advice, guidance, and directions from your elders. Be patient if they cannot attend to your needs right away. They are people living complex lives just like you, hence, be there for them and I'm sure they will be there for you too. 05. Respect to be respected, and obey to be listened to. Never ask them what you are not willing to do. Never promise what you are not willing to adhere to. And, once your 7 years are up and you have learned all you think you can from your elders, ask them for permission to learn from others before going out there. Don't be surprised if by that time you have already been asked to work at some of your elders' friends' houses and have already been learning from different places enough to not have to leave. A good godchild must take an interest from the beginning to learn as much from their elders as long as they are still around because it's what you will always remember as you become an elder, and pass on your history. 06. Finally, it is wonderful to be proud and say that you are a proud member of your house of Orisha. The head Orisha of your house will be proud of you and bless you. Your godparents Orisha will be proud of you and always bless you. And, your Orisha will always be proud of you and bless you, just because you are a good godchild that has followed the rules.